I'm Marilyn Byers from Byland Shorthorn Farm in Loudonville.
Hi, my name is Amanda Price. I started out with Town & Country as an agronomy intern in 2012, and I've been working full-time with Town & Country in the grain marketing department for 3 years.
My name is Barb Sprunger. Our farm name is Rager Farms LLC here at Dalton, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Jean Bratton. I'm COO here at Town & Country, and I'd like to tell you my story. I call it the Three Little Pigs story.
Hi, I'm Mandy. I am from Town & Country Medina Retail. I'm the store manager here, and I have been here for 2.5 years.
Hello, I'm Geneva Abel, and I am the calf and heifer specialist for Town & Country Co-op. I have worked for the co-op since the summer of 2013, and we are here today at Udine Farms.
I'm Esther Welch, and I'm here at Udine Farms near Polk, Ohio. We're a registered Holstein dairy farm, and I married into registered Holsteins. I grew up on a farm just west of Ashland.
When I married Gene Byers, who was a young veterinarian setting up his practice here, and also a farmer because he'd always been in 4-H and FFA and had animals and lived on a farm. So he brought me a town girl from Loudonville to the country. And this would have been back in 1953 when we were married, a long time ago. So he got me on a tractor for the first time to drive a tractor. And he thought I was going to mow the pasture. Well, I wasn't very astute at driving a tractor, and all I could do was drive. I ended up with going in circles, round and round and round and round, and I got more and more panicky, and somehow he got me out of it, but that is an experience I will never forget as a young farmer's wife here in Loudonville. It was quite an experience.
I didn't grow up on a farm, but I did grow up on 5 acres where I was involved in 4-H. I showed market lambs every year except one in 2003, I believe it was. I think I was around 12, and my family was too wrapped up in my older sister's prom, so we missed the market lamb weigh-in. My only option to show her was to show her as a breeding ewe. We weren't sure if we were going to breed her, but I was able to twist my parents' arm and con them into letting me breed her the following fall. Her name was Layla. Obviously she was the foundation of our flock, and later on in our 4-H career we were able to bring home a homegrown grand champion with my little sister, so I'd say that was probably one of the proudest moments as a sheep breeder. And so that's how we got started into breeding sheep, and we did that for about 13 years up until this last year.
The highlight of the last few years has been last year when our son showed the grand champion Holstein at the Wayne County Fair. Our kids, both Amy and Scott, showed in 4-H all those years, and they were everywhere from first place to last place and every place in between in showmanship, showing the dairy breed. They never got above, I think, 3rd or 4th place. So last year Scott showed Rhaegar Alexander Terra. The pride that the family had was that she was home-bred and home-owned. It was not one we had purchased outside of the farm. As Scott said, he's been showing cattle for over 20 years, and finally he made the big win. And that has been the highlight. Besides the general marriages and births and all that over the years, it was very gratifying to our family to have that happen. So,
John and I were married in 1985 in a June day. It was kind of like this, really hot and sunny. I got the chance to have about 40 pictures with a big hat on. And ladies, I don't know what I was thinking when I put that hat on for the wedding, because it looks like I'm going to the Kentucky Derby. And it was about 7 months later, actually it was January 1st, my husband woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning to round up some pigs. We were going to sell some pigs and pay some bills. It was just dawn outside, and it was about 0 degrees and the wind was blowing. But eventually we got all these pigs. They were about 50 to 75 pounds. We got all these pigs loaded into our elderly truck. And we started up, I will say it's a mountainside to get out of the area where the swine house was and to get these pigs to market. And just as we were starting up this incline, I caught something out of the corner of my eye. I said, "What was that?" And then I looked closer at the mirror and I could see, as we were going up the hillside, I could see little pigs dropping out the back end of the truck. And eventually I stopped laughing and I said, "Stop the truck." And we got out and there were all these pigs and they were all shivering. And he fixed the truck gate, but he wasn't sure it was going to stay. So I had to lean up against the metal in the 0-degree weather and hold the gate while he rounded up all these little pigs that were running around. And eventually we got all the trucks loaded up, or all the pigs loaded up into the truck. And then he said something like, "Well, you're gonna have to drive the truck." And the truck keeps stalling out as I try and get this truck up onto the road. He got the joy of riding in the back to make sure the gate didn't fall back down. And it really taught me one thing about farming operations. No matter how bad it is for us as wives, we've got a lot of bad things that we do. Our husbands do try and shelter us from the worst of it, and he did that day. He was the ice ball and I was in the warm truck. And I appreciate sharing my story with you.
The story I'd like to tell you about today is how I got started in the agricultural background. In the summer, I would go and spend it on my grandfather's dairy farm. He had a 200-acre dairy farm in central Pennsylvania. One day we were out baling hay and a nice gentleman in a nice business suit showed up. And we got a little bit concerned, but it was all good. It was one of the sales people from Wendy's restaurants, fast food chain. And they were offering us to purchase all of the milk that we produce on our farm and make all the Frosties in central Pennsylvania. After that, for a whole week straight, that's all I ate was Frosties because I was so proud of that moment. And without him, I would not be where I am today.
I grew up with a father thinking he had to be Amish or something, and we had an acre garden and 70 laying chickens, a couple hundred broilers, goats, sheep, horses, cows, and my job was to collect the eggs every day and wash them. The eggs kept coming up broke in the nesting boxes when I'd go out to collect them, so Dad told me to set a box trap to see what was getting the eggs, and he thought maybe we had a raccoon in the barn. So I set the box trap and went out before school to do chores, and the barn didn't have very good lighting. It was pretty dark, so I went out, saw that the trap had been set off and something was in there, but couldn't really tell what it was. And I thought it was my cat. It was a black cat. And so I went running up to the house and was so excited I caught something in the trap, but I thought it was my cat, and I was like so confused. How was a cat eating eggs? So I got a flashlight and I then went back out and shined a light on what was a skunk, not a cat. So, of course, to an 11-year-old child, I got pretty freaked out and was scared to death that it was going to spray me. So, went back to the house and Dad had a pretty good laugh. But that's probably, I don't know, it's one of the more humorous stories I guess I have.
There's so many more opportunities for women now, and I've been very fortunate. I've had, I did work for Ohio Holstein Association. I was the editor of the Ohio Holstein News for about 25 years. Through that, I gained a lot of acquaintance across the industry. One of our breeder friends nominated me for National Dairy Woman, and in 1988, I went to World Dairy Expo, and I was the National Dairy Woman at World Dairy Expo. Wonderful experience there. It's the crossroads of the dairy world. A lot of Canadians, a lot of foreign visitors, and I went back many, many years to that, and we had an Ohio Holstein booth at World Dairy Expo, and that was a great joy to meet all the people. Also with that came a nomination and an acceptance into the Ohio Agricultural Hall of Fame. And at the time that I went in, I was only the 5th woman ever to go in. It's been going for quite a few years, and they take 4 people in every year. And the year I went in, we took 2 women in. So that was sort of a landmark year for dairy women. You know, you can go anywhere from a farm at Pope